We got an exciting guest, Jason Rule, Driven Nutrition. Welcome.
Thank you, Chris.
Good to have you. So we've been trying to do this for quite some time as far as get you in the group and really talk over supplements. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this was as we interact with, gyms on the consulting side, and we get questions and issues that come in, a lot of the topic is, should I invest the time, the money in supplements? Is it really that profitable or worthwhile? So I figure you are the man to go to who can better serve up that answer. So today, guys, if you're listening in, we've got everything we need to talk through the solutions and some of the issues that you've been voicing around supplements. And for those of you guys that are going to be listening into this, don't forget, Perpetual Profit is our podcast, and you guys can listen in as well. So let's kick it off, Jason. One of the first things I want to talk about is, on your end as a supplement company, what are some of the issues that you're hearing from, your affiliates? Because I know that you have, around the country, people enroll in your program. Why do they come to you? Like, what are some of the issues they're experiencing in getting this thing to be a part of their business? Maybe not the whole thing,
They come in for lots of different reasons. One is I know my members are buying these products. I know they're buying protein. I know they're buying creatines, amino acids. They're just not buying them from me. Another part is, honestly, a lot of them, we've been doing this for so long. I think this is my 7th year working with affiliates specifically. And I think this is the first year where I've seen a lot of affiliates getting on board and saying, we've done it in the past. It just didn't work. So we've heard what you guys teach. We've heard about your onboarding system and about how we kind of hold hands with affiliates to take them through having a successful business unit inside their gym. So this is really the first year I've seen that where, but I'm like, me, and a lot of people in your group know me and work with me. I'm really blunt and I'm really upfront. And so I always tell them, like, that's like a CrossFitter or an athlete coming to your gym and saying, well, I tried CrossFit, but it didn't work. No, you just didn't show up to class. You didn't watch your diet. You drank beer. You ate pizza every weekend. Like it works. You just have to do the things that you need to do. So what I've been leaning into with affiliates is, and I think it's something that's bothered me for a long time with the supplement industry, is the supplement industry tries to paint itself as being the hero, about being this amazing, thing or product or powder in this container. And we're really not. We're not the hero of this journey. We're a guide through the journey. The affiliates are the ones that are the boots on the ground that are working with athletes day in and day out. So really all we do is we have a solution in terms of a product that's going to fit the affiliate, it's going to fit the athlete and the coaches. And then we've kind of plugged in systems that help the affiliate talk to their members about it, keep it front of mind, to where when the member does think about protein, they don't necessarily, the big learning curve isn't to say, I want my members to buy all my protein from me or every protein they buy. That's not the goal. The goal is to get it to where they see you as a resource because you've talked about it, to where when they go to the store or go to bodybuilding.com or Amazon.
My phone kicking off. One of the things that I keep thinking about, based on what you just said, was supplements get confusing. I've been in the gym industry for over 12 years, and it just seems like every supplement comes out for a new particular solve. And then all of a sudden you have hundreds and hundreds of these powders, like you're saying, or pills. And then as a gym owner, we have enough stuff going on, right? Like we have all the operations and then trying to care for our member. And when I think of supplements, it should support what we're already doing and almost be a part of what we're doing, instead of like this side thing that we have to go kind of learn on our own and figure out. And it becomes, in our minds, work. And then I think that's what you're hearing, in these discussions about, I've tried that thing, it doesn't work. And then all of a sudden, supplements kind of get a bad rap for the amount of time and energy. It's not worth it. And that's one of the things that I want to talk through today and just get the word out that you guys have come up with kind of a radical way of thinking about helping support affiliates that, are on with you. And one of the things, not enough people know, Jason, is that you act more like a consultant to us than actually a supplement company itself, because some of the things that I have known about Driven since early on, yes, you're very firm and rigid with the way that you're onboarding people, because you want the right people to be an affiliate, and that means that you got standards. And when you have a standard, I think we're bought into the process of actually saying, hey, this is going to be a part of our business. And the first step is that it actually is an education in understanding how to go out and educate our members so that we're aligning them with the right supplements or the right packages.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about, the education side? Because I think that's a big flag for a lot of people, is where they're just not confident talking about it, or their teams aren't confident in communicating. And we know this, like a lot of the owners only coach 15, 25% of the classes. They're missing out on a lot of that education to members if they're not the only ones on the floor anymore.
Yeah, the owners aren't necessarily the only boots on the ground. It's the coaches also. And what I have found is the owners are great, the coaches are great, but really when you get down to it, once you get those two parts of a gym down, it comes down to the messaging to the members. How do you get members to where they become advocates for the brand, of a brand that you have skin in the game with, of a brand that really your members can only buy from your gym, and they're able to buy it from your gym at a discount, save some money. And that's where we've started transitioning to. How do we inject information into the owners, into the coaches, to where they can spread that information and the training of the product. And we're just finishing up actually a new portal for all of our affiliates, and I'm pretty excited about it. Depending on their user level, speech impediment, I think we finished off close to 200 videos. Every product's going to have a new video. Top 5 questions. What are the top 5 questions of post-WOD? What are the basics? It's basically a 1-minute video about talking about what's post-WOD, what's disrupt, what's driven way. And then there's about anywhere between a 2 to 5 minute video talking about the science behind the formula. And for me, it was always a little bit tough getting into the science behind the formulas, because we actually have fairly simple products, with the exception of post-WOD R&R. They're very simple and very straightforward, very easy to understand. And the reason we stuck with that is we want that message to be able to be easily translated to a member. Because if we get into too much science, into too much depth of a specific product, you're going to overload people. So really it comes down to, I think if I can encourage to every gym owner listening to this, if I could encourage you to do one thing, is share with your members, what do you take and why do you take it? If you can just start sharing that information, eventually before long, your members will start buying it, and they'll start saying the same things. People like us do things like this. Seth Godin's book, This Is Marketing, is absolutely amazing. I don't know how many times he says that in his book, but it's so powerful to understand. People like us do things like this. So if they see you, regardless of whether it's Driven or another brand, if they see you posting about a product, telling people why you take it, eventually they're going to do the same thing. And that's really where you get some power, because your members start selling the products to each other. But also, I've seen a lot of drag from outside of the community, from the same town, into a gym, to where they're coming in. People are coming in from outside the gym saying, hey, Sally, my friend has been taking this product. Can I buy this from you? Yeah, now that you're here, let me talk to you about CrossFit. And it may transition. I've had gyms, Harrison, Arkansas, a good friend of mine has a gym down there. We started teaching him this tactic about 18 months ago. And he started having people come in from the town to buy the products, and he converted 3 people into members. And he said, it's so silly, because all I'm doing is telling people why I'm taking this product. But yes, if you can be seen as a subject matter expert for that product, it's going to hit home with 1 or 2 people. It doesn't have to be everybody.
Right. And I think I'm going to put this up on the screen here. The topic that we're discussing here is the education around supplements is confusing. And I think Driven does a fantastic job of breaking that down for not only our coaches, but you didn't mention this, but the newsletter, that you do send out, where the hardest part for us is, like, I think as affiliates, we go in thinking that we got to sell. And that's often what people, attribute to supplements. But what we're saying is this needs to be a part of your program, right? And when it is a part of your program, it means that you're using it. It has value. And you may not like what I'm about to say, but if we're not using things, then we shouldn't be selling them. because in that regard, I want you guys to be able to recommend products that you believe in. And it may be that you're not using personally everything, but people on your team find value in it, and therefore they can talk about those things and be a spokesperson for why they, are taking those things. And what we're trying to approach this as is no longer selling, but educating. And when we can do that, I think that plays a big role in why you guys have grown to the level you have, and why I think so many people love your product and carrying it. Because at the end of the day, we're looking for someone that can help us grow our knowledge on the supplement lines. I remember when we were talking about hemp oil. Like I had no understanding of what that was, and now years later, it's all over the place. And it's just interesting that if we do not do our homework and are prepared to address some of the issues that our clients are coming to us with, we could miss the boat completely. So you guys are doing a fantastic job, at least at putting it on the radar and then helping us find solutions that get our clients better results. So I think you're filling that void, and why I wanted to have this discussion. So if you guys are out there and don't feel like your supplement company's offering that, you guys are way beyond just buying supplements from, a provider and then selling it to your members. You guys are taking it to the next level and saying, here's some resources. And I love the fact that you're offering up videos on how to explain the product, how to educate the member on it. That's the void in the market, I think.
Yeah, and that will tie into that coach's newsletter that you talked about. Is depending on, it'll transition from an owner, and then the owner will get an invitation to invite their coaches into the portal, and then they'll be given certain level access to where they'll be able to see some videos, because we don't want to talk to coaches about margin. Like that's just not something that's right in this sense. But to your point, I want to point out, like when you first started talking about CBD, it wasn't something you wanted to take personally. Like you were curious.
Yeah.
And I had this conversation with an affiliate about a month ago. He was talking about how his wife didn't want to take pre-wad, and so she's not posting about pre-wad. I said, tell her to post about it. Like she's pregnant. Tell her to post why she's not going to take it. The idea isn't always to be sold. And I guess this goes back to what I said at the beginning. The idea isn't to sell a product. The idea is to be seen as a resource to your members and to the people in the community, because they're not used to someone genuinely talking about supplements, sharing their information. I take this and this is why I take it, or reverse it. I don't take this and this is why I don't take it. And you'll have Sally, you'll have Jill, you'll have Bob, and they'll come up and be like, I saw that video talking about why you don't take pre-wad. These are the products I'm taking. What do you think? And then that gives you the opportunity to diagnose some of the products they're taking and to steer them in a better direction if you think there is one. If there's not one, just be like, dude, you're taking the right stuff. But if you don't talk about it, if you don't share it, they're never going to see it as that resource. So like with you on CBD, you were curious about it. And we bring it from the standpoint of, I don't want to sell you CBD. I just want to teach you about it and make you aware that it's coming. Like this has been 3 years now. So it's coming. So you need to pay attention to it. Here's the things to pay attention to. I happened to see it at the right time before the wave crested. And because I'm eternally curious, and I'd never seen a product like that in the supplement industry where an untainted raw was being so abused in the market space so early on. Yeah.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but inside that meeting too, our buddy Amir, who's a member of ours at our gym, he was also curious about him. And then also the not the pre-wad, but what's the other one without the disrupt?
Yeah.
So he became a raving fan of those two products simply because you offered up the education. Yeah. So that's what I've come to love, guys. So when we talk about it from an educational approach, at least we're creating the opportunities to even just have discussion on why you shouldn't be taking it or why you should. And that's, I think, the new form of enrolling members into supplements, not selling them. So I love that aspect of it. The next thing I wanted to talk about is really, this one hits home for a lot of gyms. And I think you can at least appreciate this as the industry is changing. So I'm going to put it up here. Investing in supplements on your shelf is expensive and risky. Now, this is one of the processes we've been working heavily on But I want to talk about some of the issues about stocking supplements. And I know that you want to move products, you want to get more products into people's hands that are helpful, that are, helping them either reach their goal faster or help them get to their goal. And we want the same thing. So that's where we're mutually aligned. But as a small business, we have limited resources, right? So as our revenue comes in and we're looking to say, hey, I want to make sure that I have these products, I want to make a margin off them for putting in the time, energy, effort. And it gets expensive, right? So the typical order, what does that look like for, think back a couple of years ago, and then I want to showcase what we're working on moving forward to ease this. What's an average order of someone, from a cash standpoint investing? Is it 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 that people are committing to on a regular recurring?
For an affiliate?
Yeah.
Anywhere between $500 to $2,000. I'd say that's pretty average. We've got some affiliates that order one thing of protein, 1 2-pounder, and they'll get it shipped and coming to them. It just comes down to how intentional are they,
right?
And I mean, true story. A guy ordered just a couple weeks ago. I reached out, just sent him a text. I saw his order to come across it. It's like, dude, nice job. Is this for stock or pre-sold? And he said it was $1,500. That was his cost. So retail on it was well over $3,000. And so he said, no, this was all pre-sold. Do you think I should start stocking stuff? Yeah, you should really start stocking a few things.
So let's work through this, because I think a lot of people get into supplements without the education, without the sales training. They go out and they place an order and they can't move it. And that is not okay as well, because you have to have a strategy. You have to have a system behind it. Or we've all done this before as young entrepreneurs, where you can stock the wrong products. You can not have promoted in a way that get people excited to actually purchase. And then all of a sudden that $500 to $2,000 is sitting on the shelf and you're like, hey, I can't move this. So that's what I think the risky part is. If you don't do your homework, if you don't use the resources that you're talking about, it can not always go in the way that we hope, and saying, oh, a supplement, program could be the next thing that gets me another $500 to $1,000 in profit back to me. So it doesn't always work out that case. And that's what I'm hoping to shed some light on, is what are some of the strategies that you're finding help reduce the amount of cash out, and it allows them to keep that business in, or, that money in house to use, as needed. But what are some of the strategies you're finding with your affiliates that maybe they're not having to shell out this cash all the time? So you already talked about pre-selling, right? They're placing the orders with already charging the membership, so they're not necessarily out that cash.
Right. I would dive into that a little bit deeper, because I think that's before we get into the catalog and the subscription model. I think that's the best hack. A lot of affiliates will say, hey, I'll just order once a month. Well, don't do that, because these are consumable products that normally last about 30 days. So you're assuming that your client is going to do your work for you if you do that, meaning that they're going to come to you 2 days before they're going to run out and say, hey, order me this. You have to do it about every 2 weeks. And again, this is across the board for any supplement. We've actually come up with a pre-sale catalog. It's a booklet that has all of our products across the top, member's name down along the left-hand side. I encourage affiliates to just keep that on the front desk. And then that way, when Sally or Bob say, hey, I need a 2-pound protein, cool, go write it down on the sheet over there. So I think that's a great thing. And then down at the bottom, making sure to write the pre-sale end date. And then make a big deal about that 2 or 3 days before the end date's coming. Post about it. And we're seeing a lot of affiliates doing a good job on their stories on Instagram, as well as on Facebook and in their groups. I'm lucky enough to be in a few of the Facebook groups for affiliates, and I see them post up in there. And it's always fun, because they'll post just a picture, and a lot of times they're recycling it from another affiliate that we post up in our story. They'll just take that picture, post it in their group. They'll get 2 to 8 to 10 comments for pre-sales. And these are products that are 40 or 50 or $60 with a 50+ profit margin, that as soon as somebody says, hey, order me this, you should be going to their account and adding it to their account. Days, or like a couple days before you order, that's totally fine, because you're ordering it for them. They already said, hey, I want to buy this from you. So let them pay you for it. I think that helps. Doing it, getting it to where it's on schedule every couple weeks is important. Posting about it, and then getting your coaches on board And that carries in through the momentum of our coaches newsletter and education that we have, but getting them on board to where they're reminding the class, everybody just heads up, the Driven Nutrition pre-order, whatever pre-order it is you're doing, ends in a couple days. If you're needing some supplements, go write it on the sheet. If you're not sure, check your gym bag, check your cabinet, and then put your name over there so we can make sure to get your products coming to you. I think intentionally focusing on it, those are so tried and true, and everybody's always looking for like, hey, what's the next fancy cool tactic I can get? Just do the work. And it's very, very simple and straightforward. It's just reminding and keeping people front of mind. And by having that pre-sale sheet out, it has Chris Thorndike's order on there. So when they see Chris's and they see Steph's, they're going to come to you and be like, hey, Chris, why do you take this?
Yep.
It gives you an opportunity to answer that and not sell it, because they may say, most of the time, they're going to say, do you think that's a good fit for me? No, I don't. I think this is a good fit for you. And that's what they're going to expect from you. And that's what 99% of the CrossFit affiliates expect from themselves, is that level of accountability where when somebody says, hey, do you think this is a good fit? They make that genuine recommendation. And really all we've done is we've provided the products that fill that gap and the training that fills that gap.
Yep. And like taking this a step further is like by doing these things, we're saying it becomes less risky, because what you're talking about is simply making the promotion or the announcement that, hey, I'm putting in an order. You're going to get a lot of people who generally just take supplements and didn't realize you even ordered or had them, right? So that's one aspect of it, of just making the announcement. If you don't talk about it, no one's going to know about it. Mm-hmm. And that minimizes that risk. And then on top of that, like you're saying, is it at least starts the discussion maybe for some of those people that didn't know or were hesitant to even order because they have questions. They have some of these things that are concerns before, actually submitting an order. So I think that, those strategies, and I'll name one more thing in terms of a solve, and you guys do a great job at this, is a lot of people are always so surprised that tastings work. And when we talk about it, it's like you're literally putting the product not only on display and making that announcement in your classes, but you're allowing people to, smell the product, taste the product, and see if they actually like it. So all of those strategies are built into the way that you help affiliates grow. And I love that aspect about the education side. So there's one more thing I want to put on the table. What makes this expensive is also the time component. So even if we go this route, okay, we minimize our upfront cash and we say, all right, we're going to do pre-sales, we're going to do orders before we actually place, or order with Driven. Those products get shipped out, to the gyms. There's unpacking, there's sorting, there's organizing, and, even the time to charge the member gets expensive, because that's all cost, on the business. And if you guys aren't thinking about that aspect, it plays a role. And I think there's still plenty of margin inside the way that you guys have structured your products, but it's still eating away from the time you have to invest to go collect that money and or get that product directly to your clients. So one of the things that I think you've recently done, before even getting into our super secret release here,
I'm on heads and needles here, man. I'm like, where's he going with this?
I got it, man. So it's direct shipping. I mean, you released this months ago, if not a year ago or more, and you can literally log on as an affiliate, right, inside your website and place orders. So you've handled and addressed a lot of the distribution time and effort problems just by directly shipping to our clients now, instead of having a big box of goods where we have to sort and go through it. Can you talk through that kind of process and show everybody how that can be an advantage as well, to remove maybe the time cost associated with ordering?
I think with that, so much that comes down. I'm curious about your feedback on this, Chris. Mm-hmm. I think that the time that it takes to place an order is probably the most challenging part. Logging in, placing the order, because sometimes we do it for our affiliates, like Austin, who helps us out. He'll reach out to affiliates and actually, hey, do you need to add anything to this order you just placed? He can log in and order for you. So as an affiliate yourself, you're then having to type in the member's name. So that is a little bit of a time burden. However, you're bypassing us completely. You're never touching the product, and you're ordering it at your cost plus shipping, and then we're sending it directly to the end consumer. The end consumer never sees an invoice. All they see is a packing slip. So they just see, you know, Jason Rule got this and this and this, and then they get a pretty package that has a couple samples, as well as hopefully a boom card that says who it was packed by. And we try to make sure that every package looks like a gift. That's our guys downstairs are. We're really blessed to have a great group of guys that help us pack orders, and they have the mindset of every package that goes out should look like a gift. So whether we're sending it to an affiliate or a couple grand or one person that ordered a sample pack, it really doesn't make a difference to those guys downstairs. But from a time standpoint, you're not touching the product. You're able to make the margin. You're still involved in the day-to-day process of collecting the order, putting the order on the member's account, and then placing the order for the member. So the only real time savings that you're getting from that is not handling the product. Am I right on that?
Yeah, and it's a big one though. So, and a lot of people underestimate that, where it's exciting to get product in, but let alone like there's a whole time constraint of making sure you can unpack it, you notify the client, right? You got to communicate with them, hey, supplements are in. So even if it's a simple broad post on, you know, your social media, but it literally has to be placed in a way that people can get it. If owners aren't there in the evening, but they're in the morning and they miss people, like there's a lot of strategy when it comes to distributing products inside the facility in an efficient way. So I absolutely think it's a big, you know, help and assistant on the distribution side, that when you really calculate that out in terms of time, you're paying someone to do it. Even if you're paying yourself and that money's not leaving your business and going to you, you're paying with time. So that's the piece I wanted to make and ensure people see about Driven is you've got a lot of strategies to help us on the front end of the cost side, but also the time aspect. And then I want to dig a little bit more into what you just said, because you're like, it's only helping you.
Oh, we're unwrapping it. Here we go. We're just
man. This is important stuff. You guys have a heck of a product here, and it goes far beyond just a supplement. So I'm happy to have you on, man. And I love kind of going through the process for these guys, because I think a lot of people out there have steered away from supplements or have tried it and, like you said, are like, I'm done with it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it's just find a better process. A lot of the times they were done with it because they didn't want to handle the money part, because there wasn't always money there to purchase supplements, let alone the promotion time going into it. So if you remove the money and you knew that, okay, if I had a better strategy for enrolling people into it and I didn't have to deal with the money, I could just collect a check. Well, that's a lot more incentive to go after it. And then the same thing, like we just talked about, if we can remove the time component, I know a lot of people out there are just like, I don't want to deal with supplements because I don't want to deal with the communication to the member, all the time to unbox it, package it. I'm a coach, you know, I don't want to do that, you know, type of stuff, which is true. So I'm just here to say that you don't have to with this system. And here's the new release. So this is the thing that I want to get into and why I'm excited. I'm going to put this up here. You mentioned this, so you already led me into this.
Did I spoil it? Did I drop a spoiler?
No, you're good. You're sprinkling it out there. So a lot of people don't know this is coming down the pipeline, and I think you're actually pushing the threshold of what to expect from a supplement company. So I love the fact that you, and like the conversations we've had offline, we're like, you're a partner in this relationship and serving our client. And we both want the same thing. We want fast results and we want results. So in order to do that, we have to eventually team up in a way that makes sense for both parties to have a good deal of it. So you guys are, you know, learning what helps us move more products, but also do it in a way that doesn't feel salesy and then keeps us in integrity. So that's what I love about what you guys are doing. So the time consuming part that you just mentioned was, if we start thinking about what serves our clients best, the first thing that comes to mind is I've got beginners, I've got people that have been training long-term, their needs are different, right? And a lot of the new people, I don't want to be salesy and be like, you need this, this, and this, just because my elites or my experienced people are taking it, and it becomes this unrealistic expectation from a coaching staff to say you need to sell everything. So I want to be the voice and say, hey, if we do this right, we should create packages that allow us to introduce our newbies and people, align them with the right products at the right time, and then also put it in a way that it feels a part of your program, not something that you kind of have to force in. So what I'm talking about here is Driven has started a beta program, and what we're doing is creating packages, pre-built packages on their website on the back end, where it becomes our payment portal, but it allows us to find the products lightning fast that we've already pre-built in terms of my newbies need this package. I can click on that, and then I can instantly know that that package is the right fit based on pre-qualifying and having that conversation, and it expedites everything. And what it allows us to do is pretty much compound what Jason, you just said, is we, avoid the need to carry the product and spend the money up front. We avoid the need to, handle the distribution. And then you just fixed finding all these items and putting them in the cart and checking them out individually for people. So that's what I want to show them. If you're cool with this, I don't know how many people you've shown this to.
Oh, I feel like we need like one of those party poppers where you pull it and then string pops out.
Yeah, man. I don't know how to do that, but just imagine that happening, guys.
If we were on Instagram, it'd be easy.
I'll eventually get that high tech with this. So for those of you guys listening on the podcast, go to the Art of a Profitable Gym and check this video out if you want to see this sneak peek. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, this isn't available to everyone yet, but you are taking people into the program and testing this out. Is that correct?
Correct. Right.
Okay.
Right. We're still on the fence on whether or not this is going to be something we charge up front for and then set up a credit for affiliates down the road, because it is time consuming. It is a challenge to transition between, mainly for us. From you guys, we just need a list of, hey, what do you want? What are the stacks you want? But then we have to actually go build those products. So as of now, we're not charging anything for this service.
Okay.
And hopefully we have to, but we'll just see where time goes.
All right, I'm going to try and do this screen share. And my hope is that you can actually walk them through this because you set this up. So let's see how this goes here, guys. Bear with us. This is some new technology here. So I'm going to bring up this. All right, Jay, can you see this on your screen?
I can.
All right, so I'm gonna pull myself down. You're gonna walk them through this, and just kind of from a brief overview standpoint, in the 1 or 2 minute overview standpoint, and then we'll go from there.
There we go. No pressure. So what you guys are seeing here is a very simple landing page. The idea is to bring them to a landing page where you have the lifestyle package. This is a package that Chris and Steph selected. So if you drop down, if you touch the finger or the arrow, it'll drop down and explain what the two products are. It's a driven whey protein along with an omega drive. By buying it as a kit, you're actually going to be able to save the member 10%. Now, this is off of straight retail. Most of our affiliates are selling a little bit below our retail price point. However, so what I found is this 10% hits about the mark where affiliates are selling it for. Now, if you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see there's an opportunity for the member to subscribe to the products. We have bullet points, of course, explaining everything that it is. So there's an additional 10% when they subscribe to it. When they do that, we're actually going to auto bill and auto ship this member directly to their house these two products, the flavor they select. And the nice thing is since they're the ones placing the order inside of our portal, they're able to administer not only their order, but additional products. So they'll kick in, they'll get their emails and everything else the same way that any normal customer will from Driven Nutrition marketing. So that kicks in. But since they're able to administer all of this themselves, then they're able to delete the subscription, add units to it, but they also get notifications multiple days before their order is going to ship. So they're not just surprised knowing like, hey, Driven Nutrition has taken 72 bones out of their checking account. We do a good job of making sure that everybody is fully aware of what's actually going to happen with that order. Now, Chris, if you scroll up to the top, you can click on Recovery Package and scroll there. You can see we set it up to where as a bundle, they're saving 10%. So there's a little bit of value add right from the very beginning that they're saving some money. Again, all of the products have a quick bullet points. They're able to select their flavors. All 6 flavors are there. Same thing with Pre-WOD, the 3 flavors, Omega Drive. Glutamine has no flavor, of course. And then down there, they can be able to choose their subscription plan, saving $30 by subscribing to the products. They can add it to their cart, or they can purchase now with one click. And that's actually going to transition them directly to the checkout page. So it's a very fast checkout process. What's great about this is by adding these as a bundle, what we're able to do is, Chris, go ahead and drop that recovery package down again. I guess let's throw a sledgehammer at it. Scroll down to the bottom. We'll do what everybody here is looking at. Go to training package or peak performance. And that's impressive. There we go. We misspelled peak the first time. That's better. I see we spelled it right in the actual product listing. We have a little proofing that needs to be done. So there, you have a $226 bundle that your members can order. If you scroll down, they'll save an additional 10%. Again, they can select all of it. It's all self-maintaining. We ship directly to the consumer, $204. These products are set up at I believe a 45 or 46% profit margin set at these prices. So I'm not great at math, but that's about $96, $97 subscription based that's coming through month after month after month.
Cool. Dude, you killed it. So I think that's going to be a big hit in terms of, just the overall benefit to affiliates. I hope you guys get excited about that. As a long-term gym owner, one of the first things that we look for on the Forge side is how to save our clients time and money. Those resources are really valuable as a small business. And Jason, with the products you guys already put out, you found a way to really work with us and know our pains and our issues. And that's why I think it was so important to get this out. I do hope this is a big hit and you guys are able to build, a ton of these back end things. My piece on this, in terms of just the value I can add, guys, the way I'm looking at this is he talked about using this as a link to be able to have the member literally go in and self-select. Right. So there's a couple different strategies I think are worth mentioning. Absolutely. If you're going to promote, you now have a link to have directly your members go in and order for themselves. And I know you mentioned it's pretty much just a check given, Driven's going to calculate everything and send you basically a check, and you didn't have to do anything except promote and share and educate your clients, which we all love to do. That's coaching. And then on the other end, what we're working in with our clients and affiliates is that this actually is becoming a part of how you enroll people, part of how you onboard people. So when you are in person with your clients, you also can make it super easy, because this is also a point of sale where I could still log in, place the order for them, get the subscription going, and make sure it's done right in real time and ensure that I've got those products being sent out. So there's so many different ways to use this in certain settings and maximize the ROI. So yeah, Jason, anything else?
Yeah, one thing I appreciate that, because the link is great. That's just a small oil well that pumps up and down, pumps up and down. The real power behind it is the onboarding system. As you guys are onboarding new members, walking them through, saying these are the supplements that we're going to talk about during our initial meeting or during our initial nutrition check-in, whether it's 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, whatever it is that you prefer. But the way that these links are built, the way that that page is built, is any traffic that you push towards that page, if they go buy something else on our website, everything else on our website has a margin built into it if they buy it on the site. And that's attributed back for the lifetime of the customer. Every product on the site is initially set up at 30%. That's because that's just a residual that comes through. We have a lot of affiliates that link to it. They use their affiliate links. Then it's 20% for the lifetime of the customer. Now that's going into the other 100 products that we have beyond the landing page that we've built for you guys. So there's a lot of potential revenue. It's not just the $96 you get from that one subscription month over month. It's the disrupt that they order, or the CBD, the $300 bottle of CBD that you guys get $96 on, or whatever, for ordering that one product. So that landing page, that link is powerful because it sits off to the side and works while you don't. The residuals work while you don't, but the work that it takes to put in to onboard a new client, to use that as a point of sale, like you mentioned, is so powerful. That's where you get a massive amount of revenue through orders, whether you're doing a nutrition challenge or onboarding a new client or doing it in bulk and transitioning people through. I think that you've done a good job with that, of doing a sampling day as you transition people to a sampling or a bundle of products. You guys have done a good job with that. And I think that there's a lot of opportunities to not just use it in one finite area, whether it's onboarding or a link, but integrate it across the board of your entire business. I think there's a lot of potential to use it as a complementary part of retail. Whether I'd ever, I don't know. I'm still on the fence. I'll buy you a beer. We'll see how this plays out.
Well, here's my goal. So I want to go into your group, Driven. I want to share the operations side. This is what we do best, right? So we'll call it a second edition of this call, or an extension inside Driven. So if you're not, in Driven's group, you guys need to become an affiliate, and then we'll talk through how to get each touch point built in and where we're going with this thing. Jason, I do want to wrap this up in one, for anyone who's interested in becoming a Driven affiliate and wants to gain access to possibly this beta group, where they have their portal, where they have their ability to remove some of those issues that they might be experiencing. Where would you direct them to get a hold of you and start that process?
Go to drivennutrition.net. Up at the very top right, click on Become a Driven Affiliate and fill that out. The next page is going to be a video of me telling you to click the link below and schedule your onboarding call. Once we do that, we'll get the onboarding system started, and then we'll start moving the ball forward as far as the portal.
Cool. And do you have a limit of how many beta gyms, just so they're out there if they do want to take action now? Like, do you have it capped because this is so new?
I don't want to do more than 50 right now.
Okay.
So I think that once we hit 50, my struggle is we'll do an okay job, and then we'll get better with everyone. So I'd really prefer to suck for as few people as possible when we first get started. Not that we don't have everything put together as far as everything that needs to be done, but the systems and everything else need to be sharpened up, because this is something that it's a very early iteration. The technology is built in. However, it's the practices and what are the steps that we need to properly take people through so they can use this successfully.
Cool.
That's why I'm going to limit it at 50.
All right, I get it. And guys, act down, because I already sent him 10, so he's more like 40 left. Jay, thanks for being on the call. And for those of you guys that didn't get a chance to see everything, head over to the Art of a Profitable Gym, and you can catch the recording. Otherwise, Perpetual Profit, you can listen in and go from there. Thanks, man. See you guys.
See you, man. Take care.